Hello everyone, my name is Prasanjit and welcome to another session. And today I'm not going to discuss as usual about DevOps and cloud or server architecture. Rather, I'll discuss about a trending topic nowadays, that is Web 3.0. So what is Web 3.0? And I'll also discuss a bit about what is NFT, what are fungible tokens, what are decentralized exchanges, what are DAOs, and obviously you know about bitcoins and blockchains. So basically we'll be discussing about these concepts, about the internet native economy, and try to understand and make some sense out of it. Why I'm doing this? Because apart from cloud, these are the avenues which are going to grow in the next 10 years. So as cloud engineers, as cloud architects, we should be aware of all of these developments going on in the tech industry. So with that, let's begin. So at first glance, it might seem to you that crypto is a slight iteration on the existing products. So Bitcoin is just a digital version of gold, you might say. And DeFi is just existing financial services on a blockchain. So crypto gaming, you might think that is just gaming, but with the digital assets. And you might say that NFT is nothing but JPEG images. So let's dig a bit deeper into this and try to understand, are these conceptions, like whatever we make out of it, are true or not. So this surface level view explains why many people see crypto as an industry that's only good for scams. So most of us still view crypto only for scams, but the truth could be a bit different, because reading from various sources, I gathered it's not. So a greater clarity is needed to help people understand the deeper reality of what is happening. And this is going to be a huge disruption, and it would be the world's first global internet native economy that's coming up. So being citizens of the cloud, I must say, we should be aware of all these that is going on. So looking at it from this lens, it becomes clear that the superficial similarity between crypto and existing products is far from reality. Instead, Web3 products perform specific functions in the digital economy that offline analogs cannot fulfill. All right. Now, to fully understand how Web3 represents the emergence of a digitally native economy, let's first briefly review what Web3 actually is and how it is distinct from the previous eras of the internet. Now, the history of internet is divided into three main periods. Web 1 was the read-only era of internet. So this was roughly from the 1980s to the early 2000s. It is when most of the internet consisted of just static websites. Internet users read the online content or information without reacting or interacting with content themselves. So this was characterized by websites like Yahoo, AOL, GeoCities, and so on. So you just read a static page, that's it. You cannot react or comment or do anything else. No interaction with the website. Then came Web 2, which is the read-write era of the internet, and about which we are very familiar now. So internet users don't just consume the online content, but generate much of it themselves. So you can say social networks like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, these are all from the Web 2 era, where we are the content creators as well as the consumers. So data is written to the platforms by the users, and there are centralized databases that own the user data and can do whatever they want, irrespective of the user's wishes, including selling it to advertisers, or arbitrarily taking down content or banning users for any reason they wish. So that's where Web 2 is, where the big companies try to manipulate whatever they want to show. They manipulate the data they want to make available on the internet. And the user also is a content creator as well as the consumer in this. Now, what is Web 3 then? So the Web 3 can be described as a read, write, and own era. So what does that mean? This is an emerging era of the internet where it leverages blockchain technology that enables users to own the digital assets and the data. I'll come to what blockchain is in a while. So for now, just take it as a technology that allows you to have your say on what data should be there to maintain a consistency of data across the world. So if someone does some mischief or removes the data, the blockchain is broken and the data is not consistent anymore, and hence it would be considered illegit. So we'll come to that in a while. Well, the Web3 also represents a return to open source protocol standards, and these standards cannot be altered or manipulated according to the whims of big companies who manage these data platforms. So let's now try to understand what blockchains are. So blockchains are nothing but, simply put, they are computers that can make commitments. So that's as simple as you can put what blockchain is. And in Web3, the users are able to create content and build applications on the top of these blockchain protocols without the fear of being rug pulled by arbitrary changes. So no one can change or manipulate your data once it is out there, because these are governed by the blockchain protocols. And if there is a breach, that data is considered illegit. So there is no chance of that happening. So your data, once put out in the internet, cannot be manipulated or controlled by any other organization or platform. So what distinguishes Web3 from the two previous eras is ownership. So that ownership is enabled, as I said, by blockchain protocols, and that is done by using tokens, which are fundamental units of value in the crypto economies. So let's take a deeper dive to understand what tokens are. Well, simply put, tokens are internet native assets that incentivize open network participants to work together without requiring a human intermediary or central authority. Instead, the operating rules are encoded in a protocol and enforced by smart contracts that cannot be changed without the consent of all the network participants. So as a result, the tokens enable online protocols, networks, applications to be built in a decentralized manner and governed by the token holders rather than a centralized authority or corporation which manages the tokens. So the data about who owns which tokens are written in a immutable blockchain. So that is what tokens basically are. So you can just simply think of it as a string that enforces a smart contract, and this contract is kept alive by all the participants or the users of that particular system or service or ecosystem. Now all the users have their tokens written down along with the data, and the token holders are the decision makers, and these tokens are governed by a blockchain protocol and written down to form a blockchain. Now if there is a breach, the entire blockchain is rendered unusable. So there are protocols that avoid this breach, and no one can actually manipulate whatever has been put out in the internet as content. Now, there are two broad categories of tokens. One is the fungible token, and other is the non-fungible token. Now, let's understand what this word fungible means. Now, fungible is another word for interchangeable. So fungible tokens are tokens that can be interchanged or manipulated. Non-fungible tokens are something which cannot be interchanged. That means non-fungible tokens are unique tokens. So they play different roles in the digital economy or the Web3 economy. I'll come to that in a bit. Now, as I said, these tokens, where are these stored? They're stored in public blockchains. And blockchains distinguish the Web3 from the previous eras of the web. And these tokens enable digitally native property rights, which for the first time will unlock the ownership layer of the internet. So what are the building blocks of the economy or the digital economy that we are talking about? And as we all know, Web3 has been called the Internet of Money, but there is more to that. So let's understand by looking at this diagram. So basically, there are 5 parts to it that perform all the necessary complementary functions in modern economy. So without exchanges, goods would be hard to trade, and division of labor will become impossible. Without institution, the coordination and cooperation between different actors in the economy would be difficult. Without money, exchanges would not have liquidity, and we would all have to rely on much more inefficient system called the barter system, exchanging things. So we need money exchanges. And without productive assets, there would be no goods in the economy. And without goods, there would be no economy at all. So these are the 5 basic necessities that are complementary to each other and allow any money market or economy to function. Now, as this matures, we are seeing that the digital economy is creating the same 5 basic functions that organically work and complement each other in parallel to the traditional economy. So if you look at this diagram, you'll see it's the same. Like here we have fiat currencies, and there we have fungible tokens like Ethereum, Bitcoin, USDC, Tether dollars, and so on. And as productive assets in the traditional economy, we have machines, factories, software, and there we have smart contracts, which we discussed some time ago, blockchain token enabled contracts. And as goods, we have food, clothing, and TVs. And there you have non-tangible, but you have non-fungible tokens, which we'll come to in a bit, which means unique tokens. We'll come to in a bit, like how these are valuable and not just JPEGs. And then we have exchange mechanisms here in the traditional economy, which are e-commerce, retail stores, online shopping markets, and so on. And there you have decentralized exchanges, auctions, ways to order stuff like books or any other thing by smart contracts or Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. And we have institutions in the traditional economy like banks, corporations, governments, where there are rules and policies which define the functioning of these institutions. Similarly, in the crypto economy, we have something called DAOs. I'll come to that in a while as well. So let's now discuss these components of the digital or the crypto economy or ecosystem. So number one are fungible tokens. What are fungible tokens? These are currencies of the internet native economy. For example, you might hear about ERC20, These are fungible tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. So every blockchain is governed by its own protocol. So Ethereum blockchain is one such blockchain, and they can be exchanged for the other cryptocurrencies in the market rate based on the demand for the underlying tokens. Now, in contrast with fiat currencies, cryptocurrencies are native to the internet, and they are governed by decentralized networks and secured against counterfeit and arbitrary supplies uh, by smart contracts or by public blockchains. So this is about fungible tokens. So when you think of fungible tokens, you can just think of it as the currency of the internet native economy. Now, these are replaceable and hence they are known as fungible, and they are governed by a public blockchain, which is, for example, Ethereum blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, and so on. So that is one thing that we now know about fungible tokens. Next, you might be wondering, what is a smart contract? So smart contracts are the productive assets of Web3. Now, they are programmable contracts that automatically execute with like they execute when certain conditions are met. So unlike other types of automations, smart contracts run on public blockchains. As a result, smart contracts are open source code that natively integrate with crypto tokens. This allows developers to build complex apps across gaming, social, financial services, and so on that are highly interoperable. The productive assets of the traditional economy, like factories and machines, allow for mass production of physical goods. Similarly, in smart contracts, they are the productive assets of digital economy and allow for mass production of digital goods like NFTs and fungible tokens. So you can just think of smart contracts as the productive assets of Web3 economy. So they are programmable contracts that execute only when certain conditions are met, and they run on public blockchains. And when these conditions are fulfilled, they operate and allow for production of fungible tokens like Bitcoins or Ethereum coins. These are manufactured, or NFTs are manufactured. Now comes non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. Now, these are very notorious all over the internet now. You might have heard of NFTs. So what is an NFT, apart from the full form non-fungible token? So these are unique tokens that enable decentralized ownership of digital goods. Now, what does that mean? So let me explain. Prior to NFTs, how was ownership of digital items defined? Like, for example, showed in the World of Warcraft, for example, was determined by a Web2 company that hosted a specific digital environment. The Blizzard's database keeps track of which owner owns that WoW item. Now, this means that a player does not truly own the items in the character's inventory. So if Blizzard decides to erase the item or deprecate it, its rarity by 1000x or confiscate it, it can do so in a whim. Moreover, a player cannot take the item he or she owns in a WoW game to another game. So you don't have ownership of anything you do. Like, say you won a game or in which you got some coins, but you cannot carry it back. So with NFTs, ownership of digital goods is enforced by smart contracts on the public blockchains, just like fungible tokens. But unlike fungible tokens, NFTs can be used to tokenize, that is, enable digital ownership for digital goods like works of art or media and so on. Now, let's talk about another term, that is decentralized exchanges. Now, decentralized exchanges, you might have heard of heard of a protocol called Uniswap. Now, Uniswap is a decentralized exchange and a crypto trading protocol. You might have heard about OpenSea, if you are into NFTs, which is a peer marketplace for NFTs. Now, these are to the Web3 economy what the stock market or retail stores or e-commerce are to the traditional economy. Now, just as stock market allows you to buy and sell traditional stocks, equities, decentralized exchanges like Uniswap allow you to trade crypto trustlessly without a centralized intermediary like Coinbase or Binance or Gemini. So you just go in there and you can transact directly. Now, just like you can buy physical goods at Walmart or Amazon or eBay, you can also buy crypto native digital goods at a marketplace like OpenSea. So that is about decentralized exchanges where you can exchange your cryptos or trade your NFTs. Next comes the DAOs. Now, what are DAOs? DAOs are decentralized institutions. Now, decentralized versions of traditional companies allow people to work or participate in the project, to own it and make collective decisions using smart contract. Now, DAOs are a new way to finance projects, govern communities, and share value. So, DAOs are to the internet economy what the joint stock corporations were to the traditional economy. It's a new way of organizing people to fractionalize ownership, engage in the joint enterprises, pool together capital, produce products and services or productive assets, produce many goods, and so on. So these would be just like traditional factories or institutions, and DAOs will end up owning many of the productive assets and producing many of the digital goods within the Web3 ecosystem. Now that you know the blocks, the Lego blocks that will build this digital economy or ecosystem, now let's let's take a step back and try seeing the whole picture. Now, considering any of the individual building blocks of the crypto economy by themselves, it's easy to miss their true value or utility, just like it's hard to see the value in any individual part of a larger system in isolation. Now, say you are talking about a bicycle, and I just show you a spoke, or I just show you a gear. So that doesn't make much sense. But when it fits into the hub, then you know, all right, now this gear allows the chain to revolve, and the chain is connected to a larger gear and to the pedals, and they in turn are connected to axle and the wheel and the spoke. Then you get the complete picture where everything stands. So similarly, now we know about not even if we don't know fully, but we know a little bit about the concepts of Bitcoins, Ethereum, fungible tokens, smart contracts, about NFTs, decentralized exchanges, and DAOs. Now let's try to picture it together. So what is this Web3 internet native economy? How will it look like? For example, today we have certain things at scale. Number one, cryptocurrency, which is money. It can be Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so on. Then we have crypto finance, DeFi protocols for exchanging stable coins, lending, borrowing, and so on. We have that technology. We have crypto art, that is NFTs, as you know. And then we have crypto media, a more generalized form of NFTs, any form of writing, video, generative art that has been tokenized. So they are crypto media. So soon, what we'll see is we could see a massive adoption of the following things. Number one among them would be crypto social networks. Now, crypto native versions of social websites will evolve, like crypto native version of YouTube might evolve, Spotify might evolve, Instagram, etc. So where the people will be rewarded for creating content, not with the fiat currencies, but with the tokens. So instead of relying on the algorithmic curation of feeds and lists, people with tokens will get to decide how content is curated. So I hope that is making some sense. And moreover, things like likes and shares can be turned into portable tokens owned by users themselves. So this could be used to completely change how social interactions happens online. For example, say you like something that can be equated to a certain value in a cryptocurrency to which goes to the owner of the content, and so on. Like, these are just ideas being thrown around. So or they can be used as a certain ranking for that particular piece of content or video. So there would be these kind of evolutions of crypto social networks with rewards which will come in cryptocurrencies. And there would be crypto gaming, the ability to own the in-game items, like the items that you win in that game. There would be a possibility to own them or exchange them. And there would be protocols across different gaming environments that would be tradable on a global 24/7 marketplace. And there would be crypto work where the DAOs with freelancers getting paid in stable coins and equity tokens with streaming payment solutions. So just like we have WeWork or freelancer.com, so there would be crypto work where people do different tasks and get paid in stable coins. And there would be crypto firms or new types of organizations built without CEOs or board of directors. They would be governed by decisions and not by people. So they would be governed by tokens or small focused committees, that is DAOs. So, and finally, there can be crypto states. Now, this is something conceptualized now, hasn't yet happened, but who knows, this can happen. Now, you could see a successful community in crypto buying a small plot of land, having all the payment via tokens, and having decisions done through an on-chain governance process. So these are the various things that will have massive adoption in the coming years. And that would lead to a birth of a crypto native creator economy, and in which the creators generate revenue through NFTs, and the revenue could then accumulate to an on-chain treasury contract instead of being paid to a bank account. So the people can then see capital inflows and outflows, and the token holders can decide to spend the treasury on grant programs, on bounties, investing in projects, and so on. So you can think of an on-chain treasury contract like a multiplayer bank account that is open and transparent. So, for example, Uniswap has a multi-billion-dollar treasury, and they use a portion of that to pay people to build products on the top of Uniswap. So when creators and communities are able to generate revenue through NFTs, it can flow into the treasury contracts and then decide on how money gets used, whether investing in other projects, investing in the community, or letting it sit there and earn yield or interest. So that is how it's going to look like. Now, NFTs provide a utility in a number of different ways. So don't just write off NFTs as JPEG or PNG files. So how does NFTs add values? Let me explain. Now, say, for example, it can provide access to an online community. It can have a licensing potential, There are different kinds of NFT creators that can generate revenue and which can perform some of the functions like one-of-one NFTs. Now, these are canonical NFTs. These are things like the Beeple work, which sold for $69 million, and only one person can collect it. So that's about unique NFTs and artifacts or collectibles. Now there are open edition NFTs, an emerging model which we are starting to see. These can be priced at different tiers according to the relative scarcity, like a gold version, a silver version, and so on. So you have tired subscription NFTs. Instead of buying a subscription, you can buy something you can display and play, and with the collecting subscriptions to unlock their potentials. Now you have staking rewards. Just like Web2 companies like Spotify uh, have various ways to curate medias and playlists. With open protocols, you will have the community decide via tokens the voting rights to surface their favorite content. So now we are doing it through recommendation engines. There it can be done with live recommendations using these community controlled tokens and voting rights. So everything would be more or less decentralized in this manner. Now, there are other emerging spaces in Web3. There are things like DAO tools for specific verticals like musicians, artists, NFT collectors, and writers. So these are evolving to protect their content and copyrights. And then we use blockchain nowadays for identity and reputation management tools. You will have say for example, a long hexadecimal string as your address. So what is better to build identity and reputation? Like just that hexadecimal number is everything for you. And then the mobile wallets with better fiat on ramps and more social features around economy, profiles, comments, etc. And you have crypto boot camps or accelerators. That will help teach people become smart contract engineers or community managers for crypto project, and they get paid in tokens, and you get a percentage of the tokens, similar to ISAs in Lambda school, but now with a universal token that everyone can buy into. So the opportunities and the possibilities for the future in this economy is virtually endless, and people, as it progresses, will grow more creative with it and build new kinds of Web3 applications and companies. So we are looking forward to great things. But you might be wondering, after all this, why isn't Web3 here yet? Why don't we see any Web3, real Web3 applications or websites out there? There are various reasons. One of them is the scalability. This is the most frequently mentioned obstacle today. So people think like for this economy to flourish, it should be scalable. And as we know, there is a limited amount of Bitcoins available in the market and so on. So, but now layer 2 solutions like Ethereum 2 and side chains are being developed to solve this. And this should be available in the next 1 or 2 years. And then there would be another obstacle is a good smart wallet or UX. So going from dollar to fiat to a bank account to crypto in your wallet is pretty not very seamless now. And but this will change as Web3 matures. More banks will come in that provide USD or fiat currency to crypto exchange seamlessly. And once these kind of banks, neobanks evolve, that will bring the Web3 products upfront, and it will be really seamless then. And another reason or obstacle for Web3 not coming is most people till now are not into it. We don't have, most people don't even understand what it is. So we do not have enough builders. So there are lots of problems to be solved in this space, and huge demands for builders will evolve who can deliver these kind of solutions. So this is also likely to improve in the coming days. Now, despite these obstacles, we have seen a clear inflection point in the level of enthusiasm and public interest for the Web3 in 2021. If you look at this diagram, so it's like a sudden burst of enthusiasm, and then it seems like nothing is going to happen, and there would be a quick drop, like this is not working. That's when the slope of enlightenment happens, and we are probably somewhere here, and we'll be quickly bootstrapping ourselves and moving up towards the plateau of productivity. So if we pull out the longer term view, the digital native economy is barely more than 10 years old now, and there are some key aspects of it which are much newer, for example the exchanges and the NFTs. And as of now, today we have 10 million Ethereum users, which is just 0.2% of the internet users today. So adoption is likely to massively scale over the coming decade. So I feel personally like this is something going to be the next big thing, and the internet native economy is therefore which is in its infancy. This is going to grow leaps and bounds. So investing time in these technologies, and of course in cloud, because everything, all these technologies is going to be built on the top of the cloud. So that would meaningfully impact the next era of the internet. That is what it looks like, and it's just a matter of time that this happens. So I think I was able to give you some insights about various of these abstract ideas around fungible tokens, smart contracts, NFTs, exchanges, DAOs, and everything related to Web3. So we'll be back to learning cloud and DevOps in our future sessions. Thanks for your time. Hope you liked it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Thanks a lot.